everyone, this is Ms. Osterich here. Last week we looked at how to add, subtract, multiply, and divide with fractions and decimals. This should have all been reviewed from 5th and 6th grade. However, based on your assignments that I was receiving last week on Thursday and Friday, I figured we need a little bit more time to review these concepts. So today we're just going to look at how to add, subtract, multiply, and divide with decimals. So we're just going to start off here with adding decimals. It's super important that we line up our decimals when we're adding. So what that means is, like, our first number here goes out to the 10th and then the 100th place, whereas our second number only goes out to the 10th place. So what we need to do is we need to make sure that they both go out to the same place, so that way we can line up our decimals. So now that my decimals are lined up, there's nothing in this space right here. So what we do is we add a 0 after the decimal point so that all the numbers have the same number of places after the decimal. So 4.7 is the same exact thing as 4.70. So 0 doesn't really change the number at all. It just makes it look a little bit longer, so it goes out to the 100th place just like the first number. So now that everything's lined up, all we have to do is add like we would with whole numbers. So we're just going to go adding from right to left. 2 plus 0 is 2. 5 plus 7 is 12. Carry the 1. Then I have 1 plus 7, which is 8. 8 plus 4 is 12. So it looks like my final answer would be 1,222. However, that would be incorrect. The last step that you have to do is move the decimal point down into your answer. So it still stays lined up. It's going to go in the same spot as it has been. So then we have 12.22 here. Okay, if you look at the original problem, 7.52 is about 7, 4.7 is about 4, so 7 plus 4 is about 11, so your answer should be somewhere near 11. So 12.22 is definitely near 11, so that's how you can use estimation to check your answer. So now we're going to look at subtracting with decimals. It's actually very similar to adding. All we have to do first is line up our decimal points. So same thing that we started with adding, we still have to line up our decimals. Now with subtracting, it's even more important than it is with adding that we add those zeros in where there's blank spaces. So if I were to actually subtract, I cannot just put that 6 down here, okay? This needs to become a 0 here, and we can't actually do 0 minus 6. So this is actually going to be a different answer than 6 down here. So since I can't do 0 minus 6, because now I'm going to be subtracting, I have to borrow from my 9. So I'm borrowing from my 9, which becomes an 8. Now this makes a 10. So 10 minus 6 is 4. And so you can already see that if I didn't have that 0 there, this last digit would have totally been off because I would have had a 6 there if I just brought down that 6. So it's super important that you add those zeros in. So now the next one, we have 8 minus 4, which is 4, and then 8 minus 3, which is 5. Okay, same thing as adding, you just move the decimal point down into your answer. So it just goes straight down in here, and our final answer is 5.44. Okay, and using estimation, this is about 8, and then about 3. So 8 minus 3 should be somewhere around 5, and that's what our answer was. Alright, so now we're going to look at multiplying decimals, which is a little bit more different than adding and subtracting. So we do not have to line up our decimals anymore. When we multiply, we actually want to line up our numbers on the far right side. So what that's going to look like here is we're going to have 2.73 times 3.1. So as you can see, everything's just lined up on the far right side. Okay, so that way all my multiplying can happen sooner. I could technically put a 0 here and line up my decimals, but it's kind of an extra step that's unnecessary because 0 times anything is going to get you 0, and then you'd have a whole row of zeros to add here. So it's just an unnecessary step. So all you have to do is line everything up on the right side, and then you're just going to multiply like you would with whole numbers. So we're going to ignore the decimals for now. We're just going to multiply everything out. So we're going to have 1 here multiplied by everything in the top row. So 1 times 3 is 3, 1 times 7 is 7, and 1 times 2 is 2. Now that I've got my first row, I need to move on to my second number. So now that I'm going to start multiplying this 3 out, I need to first put a 0 down here. this basically holds our place because now that we've gone from the first digit over to the second digit, we need to move ourselves over down here as well. So we use this 0, or the magic 0, to hold that place. So now we're going to multiply this 3 out. So 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 7 is 21. So we're going to have to carry that 2. And then 3 times 2 is 6, plus 2 is 8. So now that I'm finished with my multiplying, we have to add it all up now. So 3 plus 0 is 3. 7 plus 9 is 16. We'll carry the 1. 1 plus 2 plus 1 is 4. And then our final number is just going to be 8. So now that we've finished, this says our answer is 8,463, which is going to be wrong. So we have to go back and figure out, we're going to count the numbers behind the decimals in the whole problem. So with this first number, there were 1, 2 places behind the decimal. And in my second number, there was only 1 place behind the decimal. So in total, I had 3 numbers behind the decimal. So now that I've counted those, I'm going to start at the far right of my product here, down here. And then I'm going to move it over 3 places. 1, 2, 3. And then this will be my final answer, 8.463. Okay? So even if you estimate it again, about 2, about 3, you want to be somewhere around 6. You're not going to want to have 84. You're not going to want to have 846. So that's why it's important that you kind of go back and look to see if it makes sense that your answer is somewhere around there. Okay? So the last stuff that we're going to look at today is dividing with decimals. So the first step is to move the decimal point in the divisor and to the right to make the whole number. So just a quick vocabulary lesson here. This first number is called our dividend. The second number is called our divisor. And then your answer to a division problem is called your quotient. So what this first step is really telling us to do is that we need to make this divisor a whole number. Well, for this problem, 2 is already a whole number, so I actually don't have to do anything here. Okay, and that's actually with step 2 as well, so I can kind of just skip steps 1 and 2 because my divisor is already a whole number. So I'm just going to divide like I would with whole numbers. So the first number is always the one that goes in on the inside, and then the second number is the one that goes on the outside. So I'm going to look at this 2. This 2 cannot go into this 1. So I can either put an X, I know some people put a 0, either one is fine. We're ignoring the decimal right now, it's not there. So now I'm going to see how many times can 2 go into 19. Well, 2 can't go into 19 evenly, but I could still fit 9 2's in there. So 9 times 2 is 18, which gives me 1. Then I bring down my 6 to get 16. Now I have to see how many times can 2 go into that 16. Well, that can go in there evenly 8 times. So now 8 times 2 is 16, which means I'm going to get 0, so I'm done. But not really. So the last step when we're dividing with decimals is we have to move the decimal point into the quotient. So what we do, it's kind of similar to adding and subtracting. You just move it into the same spot that it was in to your answer. So your final answer will be 0.98, or you could say 0.98 if you had a 0 there. It's the same thing. 0.98 and 0.98 are the same thing. Alright, so there's one more problem we're actually going to do with division. So this one does not have a whole number divisor right now. So what we have to do is we have to move the decimal point in this divisor so that it becomes a whole number. So right now it's 0.8, but if I move it 1 place to the right, it'll become an 8. But if I move this in the divisor, I also have to move it with my dividend. You can't just do one thing. You can't change one number and then not change the other. So you have to change the other number the same amount of times. So since I moved it once here, I have to move it once here. So now I'm going to have 35.2 divided by 8. So now this becomes my new division problem. So I'm going to set up my long division here, 35.2 divided by 8. So now I need to see how many times can 8 go into 3. Well, it can't, so I'm going to either put a 0 or an X there. Now, how many times can 8 go into 35? Okay, so 8 can actually go into 35 4 times, because 8 times 4 is 32. When I subtract that 32 from 35, I'm left with 3. And then I'm still ignoring that decimal. I'm going to bring down my 2. So how many times can 8 go into 32? Okay, that's still going to be 4. And then we'll subtract 32 from 32 to get 0. My final answer is not going to be 44. You have to go back. The last step is to move your decimal point into your quotient. So I'm just going to move this decimal right up here, and my final answer will be 4.4. Okay? So this was all just a review of decimal operations. I hope this was helpful for you all. Good luck with your homework tonight. See ya.